Good morning, everybody. We're here. We're back. It is the morning pod presented by Pop Culture Corner. We got some special going on for you today. Before we get to that, make sure you are liked. I don't think it's liked, actually. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Fun fact about this video that we're about to do, we're going to do a live stream, like kind of ranking of all of our favorite Batman, live action. So in order for them to qualify, they need to have had a theatrical release and they need to be live action. I know if we did like animated, technically the Killing Joke would count. Did get like a Fathom Events, and then all of our favorite Batman, The Mask of the Phantasm would count, but those are going to be in a different kind of ranking. But for today, we're just going to do live action. Adam West, Lewis Wilson, Affleck, Keaton, Bale, Kilmer, Lego Batman, yada yada yada, down the list. And we really do encourage you to comment your favorite Batman, or engage with us throughout, so we can have a good time during this video. We will edit it down for Patreons first, so it'll be just the rankings, and then we'll upload that to YouTube in the next couple of days. But we're super excited to get going, man. Austin, how are you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Oh, you got the new headset.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
I'm gonna send you an actual microphone and an arm as well. But
okay, cool, perfect.
And then we'll paint your back wall, and we'll do all that. I'll come out to Vegas. We'll spruce it up.
Dude, yeah, you gotta come out here, man. We gotta do a few Vegas shows for Army of the Dead or something.
Woo! Army of the Dead, baby. Oh, that's like crazy because it's in Vegas. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I tweeted at Zack Snyder yesterday. I was like, please do something here so I can go to it.
But yes, so we talked a little bit about beforehand about who our favorite Batman are, and we had a conversation about what the rankings should be, how we would lay it out if we were doing the video alone. Similarly, actually, surprisingly, our lists were pretty dead matched, with the exception of one in Bale and Affleck. Those are like the hardest. Well, Bale, Affleck, Keaton, I think were the hardest to choose which order they were going to go down in.
Yep. That's right. I got it. Pop Culture Corner.
The morning pod written in the teeniest letters so you can't read it.
That's
Look,
right.
I have a whiteboard, a small ass whiteboard behind me with a shelf on it. and you can read mine way
That's
clearer.
like a chalkboard. That's not even. That's a.
Not a
You get
whiteboard, not a whiteboard. Yeah, you're right. It's a
the chalk line there.
Yeah, but it's a shelf with like a chalkboard pushed onto it.
Right.
But yeah, you used to not be able to read it, so like I did it in like these really thick letters. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a good show.
A really good show. So basically the way we thought we would do it today is, you know, we're gonna do like a live stream version of it, but we know that typical ranking videos are just like, bam, 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 bam. 8, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So I'm gonna edit it in that way after, and that will get released. But we figured we'd have a good time and try to catch some natural conversation in it as well. And I think that's gonna be really fun. So we'll start off with number 8. So number 8, the all live action Batman ranked. We went with, and I don't know if a lot of people remember this guy, but Lewis Wilson in his 15 serial theatrical release. What are you thinking about this? What do you think about this costume here?
Oh man, what a costume!
Definitely.
Yeah.
Man, the 40s were killing it though.
Hey, if I had $35, I could probably put that together too.
Yeah, someone like edited into color here. Like someone edited color into it, like what it might have looked like. I think honestly, the black and white. I think the black and white helps him, because if it was in color, it would have been like this, but it would have got that Adam West feel to it.
Yeah,
it's like it's really cartoony color. It's really over the top. But the black and white, I think, really helped Lewis stand out as a good. I mean, because he's got like the stature. I think the belt's a little crazy, but
I'm not sure what's going on with that belt there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that either. But I actually do like his emblem. I do like his emblem because I don't like. Here's one of the nitpicky things for me is I don't like a Batman suit that has the yellow emblem. Right off the bat, I don't like it. I don't think it's tactical, and I don't think a character like Batman would slap a yellow emblem on his chest and like then go running around the night and be this mysterious character. It's like, hey, look at that yellow thing. Look at that yellow emblem crossing the night.
Well, now I know how somebody feels about Keaton already.
Yeah. But Keaton's Batman I think Keaton's Batman's different. The way that Keaton's Batman landed for most people. I mean, most people's Batman is Keaton, right?
Yeah.
Most people's Batman. That's their Batman. But yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. Lewis, I don't have a lot of information on like the I never watched them, to be honest, and I do pride myself on being a big Batman fan.
Right.
But I've never gotten around to watch. I think there was 15 of them. There's 15. Do you know what a serial is?
It's like what, like a little mini series or something, or
yeah, and they would play like
before the movie or something, right?
Be like a very like short thing, but all 15 like compiled into like a longer story. They were like, and sometimes they appeared in other places, but for the most part, like that's where these characters like Batman and that's where they originated with serials, because they were a little bit not nerdy but dorky. They were a little bit they were guys in tights.
Definitely didn't have the fan base they do now.
No, I don't think even remotely.
Not even close.
But I mean, 1943, man, 1943. They were still. They tried. And that's the best part. They tried to make a live action Batman, and this is actually Lewis, by the way. So good looking guy, very very chiseled jaw. I think
I can see him as Bruce Wayne. Yeah, as a Bruce Wayne.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely could see him pulling off the Bruce Wayne look.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get him in the suit, and then you get he looks completely different. Like I don't even know if that's the same guy. Like, is that really this guy?
It's a stuntman.
Actually, this picture kind of looks like it's a statue. Doesn't it? Doesn't it look like he's fake?
Right, a little bit, yeah, like a wax figure or something.
A wax figure, dude. Did I pull a wrong picture?
Oh my gosh.
Did I pull a wax museum picture? And look at the cowl. Look at like
the no, it's in black and white.
Well, look at the ears on the cowl.
I know, one's like taller than the
other. Like,
it's
so bad, dude. It's so bad. But like, people love it. People love it.
Hey, man.
Costuming
in the 40s.
Yeah. Speaking of bad Batman, we're on to number 7. You want to give us the honor?
Oh man, this one is it's an all-time classic to rag on. Mr. George Clooney's Batman from Batman Forever. That's right, Mr. Bat Nipples, our
Oh man.
favorite.
And we actually had a funny conversation before this about bat nipples, because
Right.
if you actually dig into it and like do the, dig in, and I was trying to remember about Val Kilmer's Batman,
Right.
and I kept going around it, and all I could find were pictures with Val Kilmer and bat nipples. So I was confused. I was like, wait, who started the bat nipples?
The bat nipple conspiracy, man.
But listen, George Clooney, I think they wanted to cast someone who had stardom.
Well, he was. Interestingly enough, he wasn't a massive star yet. He was pretty fresh off ER and like From Dusk Till Dawn,
Right.
Tarantino.
Yeah.
But that was the goal, was that this was going to be his blow up picture.
Right.
And it almost killed his career.
I would say, and need us not remember this: the bat card, the bat card. Don't leave home without it. Look at it. Look at the maker of it, or like kind of like MasterCard. It's Goth card. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Good brew forever, because get it, Batman forever.
It hurts. That was just one of the worst scenes ever.
Yeah,
ever. Him and Robin literally trying to outbuy each other with their own labeled credit cards.
Yeah, and so what? I mean, what's your take? Like, what's your take on that film? Like, was it about merchandise rather than actually making a good movie? What's your take on that film in general?
I really don't know what went wrong there. Obviously everything, but I don't know how it got to the point of being that bad, that cheesy. I mean, everything about that movie felt like
it was definitely a painful watch.
Yeah.
And it was painful in the sense that it definitely tried to be campy. It definitely tried to like not change Batman, but like the world around him wasn't the same. Like Gotham was like really weird, and it wasn't like the same Gotham that I loved, because I watched these movies in a different order. So I did have a miscued judgment because I watched them. I started with the Keaton Batmans and moved backwards, right?
Okay.
Like I started with Keaton, which is arguably a really good Batman movie. And then I started watching all the other ones, because that's, I was born in 93, yada, yada. Right. So Keaton was really the first Batman that I ever watched. And then I started, getting into the other ones.
Right.
And so I did have like a miscued judgment on what Gotham was supposed to be, what Batman was supposed to be. I mean, even the villains in the 89 Batman movie, like, or Batman Returns, you had Jack Nicholson as that thug Joker. Like no one will, I don't think that any Joker, if you're going to do a Joker like that again, like a thug Joker, to beat Jack Nicholson would be really tough. Because I think
I think that's what Leto was going for.
The thug Joker? I don't think so.
Gangster thug. Yeah, I mean, look at he walks in with like a gangster. He's literally in a club like a. They had a whole song about him being a gangster. Like,
Yeah, but I wouldn't say he was at the root of his Joker, you think he's a gangster? Yeah. I think he's an anarchist. Rather than a gangster. I think
I saw him more of like this thug gangster
in
type.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
No, not Heath Ledger's. No. Jared Leto's.
Jared Leto. Dude, I'm thinking Heath Ledger. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, because you said that Jack
you did
Nicholson.
Say Jared Leto, dude.
Right? Yeah, a very different type of gangster thug than Nicholson, obviously. But I think that's what he was trying to go for.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry, I misheard you. Because I was like, wait a second.
I know, and then you said anarchist, and I was like, really?
Yeah, no, not Jared Leto. But I see what I do see what you're saying, and I think that, but I do think that Clooney. So the villain in Clooney's Batman was
Bane, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze,
and let's face it, if you're doing a Batman film, if you're doing a Batman film, the villains can make or break your story, right? And if they're done well, I should say, or if they're done poorly, it'll make or break your story. And I do think that I could see where the Bane, that was definitely more comic accurate than, say Chris Nolan's Bane. But I
Very
think it
true.
was way over the top.
Yeah.
And
The whole that
po-
like he's a pet of Poison Ivy type thing.
the
It
pet
wasn't
of
too
Poison
crazy.
Ivy.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the villains, I suppose, but Mr. Freeze I thought was like I thought was pretty like clowny.
It
Like I
was,
didn't.
and it's so upsetting because I personally I love the casting of Arnold as Mr. Freeze.
Right,
I
right.
I think that's a brilliant idea, and I think it could have been like so cool if he wasn't cheesy instead, but more be this dark tormented character trying to bring his wife back, like the
Right.
comics, instead of you know Gotham will freeze. Ah.
Yeah, what is it tonight? Tonight there is going to be a freeze. Like
Yeah.
his one-liners were,
Uh,
they're memorable, but they're not memorable in the way that they should be memorable because
yeah,
you're
not a good
more
way.
you're more poking fun at him rather than
Right.
like you're not like, oh wow, this character was so dope. Like, throw the
And then
one-liner out there.
interestingly enough too, Clooney and Schwarzenegger never filmed together. They never filmed a scene together. Like that whole opening scene where it's like a hockey match versus
Yeah.
versus
They
that.
filmed
That
that
was
separately.
they filmed that separately. They never were even in the same room together. So
Why?
I
That's so weird. That's so weird. But
I
I
know,
thought
yeah.
but I thought so Arnold was I mean, so he was what was Arnold's first movie? The Predators? No, 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 it wasn't The Predators, was it? Was it Terminator?
No, I think Terminator was one of his first.
Right. So I think they wanted to capitalize on his whatever movie it was. I'm not a huge Arnold fan. I'm actually not a Terminator fan either. I've never seen the original Terminator or any of the Terminators, I should say. Yeah, I don't know. That's just who I am. I was never a fan of it. I know. Scold me in the comments. Do what you will. Call me a fake nerd. Take my nerd card away. Do what you need to do.
Well, guys, it's been a good 2 weeks at Pop Culture Corner. I really enjoyed. No, I'm kidding.
But I know that the reason they brought Arnold in is because
Right.
it's the same reason you would bring The Rock in now, right? Like he was
Right.
like franchise steroids. People were really digging him as an action star. So if you look at the cast through and through, right? Conan the Barbarian was his first film. Jack,
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because I know he started like when he was still all like right after being
here's the
Mr.
thing.
Muscle or whatever.
Yeah, here's the thing: is I thought that Jason Momoa's Conan the Barbarian is actually more well adapted to the books, not the comics, because the books came first. But Arnold's Conan is the Conan people remember because it was a much better film
Right.
than the second Conan or the
I never
the
saw
Momoa Conan.
I never saw Momoa's.
We are ranking by the actors themselves, not the. Well, I guess film comes into it in a slight way, right?
Right.
We're taking the live action bad actors, character, the guys who played Batman, but also the films that they were in, and using it to rank them our least to favorite. But like, if you got 3 Batman movies, we're not ranking each Batman film. We're doing just the actor. So we're on number 7, and that was Clooney. And there's 8 total that were classified for our rankings, and then we'll take a special look, an honorary look at Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's The Batman at the end. So moving on from Clooney, we have number 6, and this is I think this is gonna upset some people, but I think it's just the way the cookies crumbled on this one, and that is Adam West's Adam West Batman, the Batman that our parents really found to be their Batman in ways, right? So this was so this is 66. The film came out, and then the TV series, and it explored Batman and Robin, fighting crime together, and it was very comic booky, where kaplow, boom,
Right.
pow. But I cannot take it seriously.
Now, look, I want to put it out there. I actually like Adam West.
You
That
like
it's
Adam
just
West
with
Batman.
all the other ones. I do. It's just the other ones are all better. But I don't have a problem. I think people, it's like you said. I don't think people realize like how that's probably the most comic book accurate Batman put on screen. I mean, some of that stuff was literally straight from the pages,
Right.
to from up all the way up to the Boom and Kapow and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean we have Cesar Romero's Joker. I thought was really done well. It's very iconic in its own right. And again, your villains will make or break a story for you. And I thought that Adam West Batman got so much time to explore villains. It was definitely corny. It was definitely out of the out of the pages, and I don't say it's a good way. Yes, it might be comic accurate in the sense that Kaplow comes on the screen, and Batman's very I guess his psyche is kind of similar to his in the books, but I don't think it was necessarily the most comic accurate. I think that most people really enjoy Adam West Batman because it was the first real like Batman that they got to explore in depth,
Sure.
and they really got to get connected to the characters. Like, and at the time when Adam West Batman was on the screen, there wasn't a lot of other things on TV.
Right.
So this was one of the things that people tuned into each week and then they kind of talked about with their friends because like it was this not big budget, but for the time, big budget, right?
Right. Yeah. For a TV show, yeah.
For a TV show. Well, it started as a film. So, the film, was considered, I think it started as a film, right? It was the first, it was the film and then the TV show. I think. I could be wrong about that. Again, I might be wrong actually. If someone in the comments can let us know which came first, was it the show or the movie? I thought it was the movie for some reason, but it could have been the show, I suppose. But Adam West Batman for me is very corny, very over the top. But it was meant to be. I think that's why people enjoyed it so much. And it was, again, like I said, there was not so much going on in television and film, but back and then, you had like Little House on the Prairie. You had these other like other shows out there, like those Western shows, Little House on the Prairie. Then like all the other ones, I'm not like super good with what their names are. But then you had Adam West Batman, and that was really fun for the kids to tune into. That was really fun for the adults as well to tune into. And I really think it brought families together.
And like Integrity said, you can't really hold it against. They were trying to be silly. That was absolutely the point.
Oh no, they don't hide that they're trying to be silly at all.
So I agree that, but I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. I do think it's fun. It's fun to watch. I don't have problems with it. They even did like a little animated version a few years ago where they brought West and Reynolds back and everything.
Right.
That I enjoyed.
And to Integrity's point here, the other two are technically Lego Batman, and yes, the 1940s Lewis Wilson serial Batman. So yes. So what does he say here? Adam West Batman was silly, but you can't really hold it against them because they were trying to be trying to be silly. 100%. And the show was first. Okay, so the show was first. Apparently, he's 90% sure. That would make sense.
It kind of spins off a movie, right? If it's successful, yeah.
But yeah, so I think Cesar Romero's Joker made that show for a lot of people as well. The relationship between Batman and the Joker was done really well, where they're definitely arch enemies, like they're rivals, and they're always up against each other in some form or fashion. Batman won't kill him. I thought the Robin was a little dorky. The Robin was like, but it was like, it's almost like that's who Robin is. I think they definitely got Robin the most correct way, whereas it's definitely Batman's sidekick. It's definitely, he's this younger guy, and I like how I always like the thought about how Batman really brought Robin around. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Is throw him in some bright colors and he'll take the bullets for you.
Yeah.
He's like more or less like, like your shield almost, but that's just more of a joke. But yeah, so I mean, Adam West's Batman, I really don't have too much to say on him. I'm not a huge fan of those older shows. It's hard for me as a 28-year-old to go back and watch them and be able to take them seriously.
Sure,
Right.
sure.
So I think that's the problem I have with them. And I feel like that's why I think everyone in the world will have a different Batman list. And each Batman list is unique to themselves because, whereas Christian Bale was technically my Batman when I was growing up, or that was the first Batman that I really gravitated towards.
Right.
Most people feel that way about Keaton. Some people feel that way about West, right? So I think that's the unique thing about Batman films is that each person is tied to their own Batman, and I think that's what's really great about it. So that brings us to what number are we on? Number 5, I believe.
Number 5.
Number 5, and who is that, Austin?
Number 5 would be our pal Will Arnett.
Yes.
The Lego Batman.
Woo! So this one will surprise some folks, but yes, he technically is a theatrical Batman. I thought Will Arnett. A lot of people really love Lego Batman. I couldn't get into it. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for me. But a lot of people really do like Will Arnett's Batman, the way he, voiced the character, the way that the character acts on screen. I didn't like the Joker in the Lego Batman. I think he was written well. I just don't think
Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, I don't think that it was executed the way it should have been. The Lego stuff, it's definitely made for kids, right? Yeah. So the only reason he's included on the list is because technically he is theatrical. So
I will say I enjoyed the first Lego movie. I didn't see the Batman Lego thing. But yeah, wasn't too crazy. I guess Will Arnett's voice is good for it, for sure.
Will Arnett does have a good voice for Batman.
He's got that deep, scratchy voice, and it works.
Yeah. And I think that Will Arnett, for this younger generation, they're going to remember Lego Batman. Lego Batman is a staple to the Lego movies. I do think he's one of the better parts of the Lego movie, but I don't think that they should have. I mean, to give him this whole like series
spin-off,
like it just seemed like it was a merch grab, where they took something that was really popular in another movie and they ran with it, and they definitely market it to kids. They definitely try to sell merchandise for it. And what I don't like about when they do Batman that way is when they make him for merchandise.
Right.
Where Zack Snyder's Batman is not made for merchandise. Christian Bale's Batman is not made for merchandise. But Clooney's Batman is made for merchandise. Kilmer's Batman is made for merchandise. Lego Batman is made for merchandise. And you can see it in some of the suits right there. You can tell that they'd make a good toy, right?
Right.
I think that's what Lego Batman suffered from, was it wasn't really like intended to be anything until all of a sudden people were like, oh, dude, I saw that Lego movie. Batman was really funny in it.
Right.
Those are words you should never utter. Batman was really funny in it. Come on. What kind of world are we living in? This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. You're lucky you didn't get the number 8 spot, Will.
Yeah.
You're lucky. I don't have anything else to say on this. But those are never words you should say. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And if it is, it's a very sarcastic, dark sense of you. I mean, like I can think of like the times that I enjoy Batman being funny, like Justice League in the animated series. He is kind of funny in those, but my gosh, it's dark humor, and it's like, and I love it. That works, But yeah, no, nothing like Will Arnett.
Integrity's going to be really mad at us for the way we chat on Lego Batman. And again, I don't want anyone to take these seriously. This is just the way we feel.
I do. I want you to take this very seriously, and I'm going to go put my number out after nothing.
These are not opinions. This is a factual list in order from best to worst. I mean, from least to best. So these are forever and always will be the definite.
This is gospel.
This is gospel. This is gospel for the vagabonds.
Oh, come on, Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, dude, I was a Panic boy.
Really?
Uh,
Where you? I was a Panic
yeah,
Boy. No, obviously,
yeah,
Vegas would hope I
yeah,
was a
of
Panic Boy.
course. Number 4. We gotta slow down on this, by the way.
Oh, I got. Oh, don't worry. I got opinions for these next few.
All right. Yeah, this is where we really like. This is where the list started getting to be a little bit more tricky between the two of us, and I do think that showed. But number
Yep.
4 is Val Kilmer's Batman. So Val Kilmer was obviously Batman Forever, and look at this picture. Now I
I
need
love it.
someone to clarify
I
this for
love
us.
it.
Is he? Why does he not get? Is this a real picture? Because I don't remember
It
him
looks
having
like
the
just
bat
some
nipples.
promo.
It does look like a promo. But where
Right.
did the bat nipples come from? Was it Kilmer or Clooney? I'm so confused.
It probably was Kilmer and I mean, now is amplified in Clooney. Clooney, you can't miss those nipples.
Yeah,
These ones are like blend in a little bit. They're
yeah,
just simple black nipples. The other ones were like pointed out, coming to like
they pointed
they were
with the wind to the direction the wind was going.
exactly, yeah.
Um,
But I actually love Val Kilmer's Batman. Val
okay.
Kilmer's Batman. I think that was the first Batman that I ever watched. And that for me, I was also like a massive Jim Carrey fan, and I thought his Riddler was just top notch.
Well, okay,
For
here's
me,
the thing. Here's the
yeah,
thing. Is Jim Carrey's really playing Jim Carrey?
I love it. I
And
love it.
I think I think they did that on purpose because
Mhm.
I think Jim Carrey is like Jim Carrey, by the way, is a guy that will bring people out to the movies.
Yeah.
And no one really wants to admit it, but he does. And so
Oh
his
yeah.
Riddler, I think, is a perfect casting in the sense that Jim Carrey is obviously not so like that's the problem I had with Jim Carrey's Riddler is he wasn't
Mhm.
like it was corny. It was very like he was like a kind of like a to be made fun of. But when I
Right,
see
like a
the
mad
Riddler,
genius type
yeah,
thing.
when
Yeah.
I see the Riddler, like I want Batman to be solving these dark,
Right.
deep, like really complicated and complex riddles.
The
Not
Riddler's one of those that he's so interesting because there's so many different like versions of him. Like so many, he's got a few different personalities. I would if you if you think about it, you have because I do think his Carrie's like mad genius version that I think you're right was kind of Carrie himself. I do think that I see that a little bit in some of the comics, some of the older comics, but also at the same time I think about like you said, like I'm kind of imagining how you like a Paul Dano's Riddler's how I'm imagining like what you're saying. You really
right,
smart
really deep,
coming at
complex.
Batman in a really like intense way, and that works too. I think that's um for me. I don't know. It's gonna be hard to choose because I actually really I like this is one of those things where I don't have a preference. I like both versions of that character, but
Okay,
I will say this: uh, Kilmer for me beats out Keaton as Batman.
like in suit or out, like or just in general.
All around for me.
Really?
I much more enjoy Kilmer's Batman than Keaton's.
Wow, what a hot take. What a
I
hot
love
take.
yeah, and like let's see who brought it up here. Somebody brought it might have been Integrity. I can't remember. Somebody brought up his Bruce Wayne. Yeah, his Bruce Wayne is spot on, and especially in Batman Forever. And that's what I loved about that movie. It's the first movie where there's like an equal focus on Bruce Wayne as the character, and he's ready to give up the mantle, right? Move on, go away with this girl, give up on Gotham and all this. And it's a very, very, interesting, engaging take on Bruce Wayne that I think audiences hadn't seen or understood before. They'd just gotten this Batman character.
Okay. And so for me, I think Kilmer was more like too much of a pretty boy.
Hmm.
I think he was the way he was seen as an actor. Like, and this is a problem for me with the Schumacher films, right?
Right, right.
Was his castings for Batman.
Hmm.
I do not like that he brought Kilmer in, and I do not like. So wait, so I do. This is something that I've been trying to grapple with for a while. So the Alfred in. So when did the Alfred change? Because there was
I'm pretty sure that Alfred was around since Burton.
Right, and that made no sense to me. It was like, were they trying to
kept the same
subtly
Alfred.
recast, or were they?
I think it's one of those things that I'm pretty sure all of those Batman are in the same universe. Alfred, is kind of the continuity. I guess Robin too.
Right.
You have Chris O'Donnell's Robin. I'm not really sure how the whole continuity of that works, but I'm pretty sure it's all the same universe, and they just wanted us to be like, it's a different Batman every time.
Right. And that's when I was younger, when I was a kid, I had a hard time figuring out, like, is this a different actor? Because when you're a kid, you don't really care who the actor is. You just want this in-suit Batman, right? So I think that's why these films, they never really worked for me, is because each Batman was different. Each Batman was different in its own right. And I had a hard time figuring out, like, which one I liked more, because I couldn't tell if they were separate or the same, if they were trying to be the same.
But Batman Forever did feel very sequelish to Batman Returns.
Okay.
And you know what? I think I did read somewhere that Keaton did get offered Forever and turned it down because he didn't like it.
He didn't want to be Batman anymore. He didn't like the script.
No, from what I heard, he didn't like the script. Not that he didn't want to be Batman. He didn't like the script. Integrity mentioned something, and I know there's, with all this going on, Snyder Cut. I know from what I hear, there's a Schumacher cut of Batman Forever out there somewhere.
Right.
Integrity saying you can go online and find some virtual work print with the deleted scenes put back in. Kind of makes for a better film.
Okay. And I think that's what a lot of people say, is that that film, like the Schumacher cut, so I wonder why that happened, or what happened with it that turned it into something different. Is it the problems that we're having today, that the studio came in and we're like, nope, we need this to sell toys, we need this to do this, Batman is a property, because Batman is a property, like that. When I remember when Batman 89 came out, right? Batman had been gone for some time, like the movies had stopped for a while. And when Batman 89 came out, people were expecting it to be, a child's movie again. And what they got was totally different.
Pretty dark.
Pretty dark and pretty serious in tone. And Gotham was a serious place. And what I liked about Tim Burton's films, well, here's the thing that a lot of people do say is, these were good Tim Burton movies, but were they good Batman movies? And that is a good, deep question. Are they good Batman movies?
I think they're great. I think they're good. Like, how do I say this? I'm personally not a fan of Keaton's Batman. I'm not, and it's weird. I am looking forward to him. He is a staple, and I am looking forward to him coming back as the Flash. I think he's grown significantly as an actor since the 80s, obviously. But I think back then, Keaton wasn't known for doing any drama whatsoever.
No.
Keaton was a comedian. He was a comedian. So he was, pitted into this, had to change his entire brand completely.
Right.
And I mean, for me, and it's not to say like comedians can't do dramatic work or anything like that. They absolutely can. It's just, I don't know. He still had that, kind of funny guy aspect to it, especially when he was Bruce Wayne, that I wasn't too crazy about. That's why that's why I prefer about Val Kilmer is, you're right. He was a pretty boy, but that dude was deadpan serious.
Okay. I know. I definitely hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Here, I want to do something interesting here. So let's take a look at. So this is the Batman.
Ooh.
Oh wait, no, I didn't want to do this one. What am I doing? Who are we on right now? We're on.
We're on Keaton. No, we're on Kilmer. We're still on Kilmer.
That's what I wanted to look at.
Forever, Batman Forever. Integrity says Michael Keaton is the greatest acting talent to ever wear a bat cowl. Interesting. You know what? That's an interesting take. That's hard.
Riddle me this.
Yes.
Who's afraid of the big black bat? In an uncertain
The Batmobile
world,
comes into play too,
in a
man.
chaotic time, justice wears a mask.
Like the Batmobile is so ridiculous in this movie.
I like it, man. Yeah. Drive up that wall.
Your entrance was good. His was better.
His was better.
Love is a game.
What is it about the wrong kind of man?
It's the car, right? Chicks love the car. Power is a machine.
Now you've devised a way to read men's minds.
By the way, I've seen your mind, freak.
And revenge is a trap.
You're a genius.
Riddler and Two-Face can make a pretty lethal combination. Train me, let me be your partner.
Who's your tailor?
But first, let's meet our contestants.
Going down.
I love that opening sequence.
Play? We'll play.
Was that over the top?
Oh,
Don't work too late.
You forgot the part where you kiss the girl.
The real game begins. Courage now. Truth always.
I loved his
Batman.
the ears on the cowl for him.
yeah. Look, man, people crap on this movie, but first of all, Seal did "Kiss from a Rose" from that movie, and that was that
Look
for me
at this
was
list of you
Bro,
two, The Offspring,
come on,
Seal.
dude. This was
PJ
like the
Harvey,
Suicide Squad soundtrack.
right? That's a fire soundtrack.
fire. But people all the
Fire.
time, I think, they forget Batman Forever focused, on Bruce Wayne as a character outside of Batman. It focused on like the trauma of it. Like it actually goes back and he's dealing with a lot of PTSD of being an orphan as a kid, and becoming the Batman. And they're exploring that backstory, I think, in a way that I agree. It's definitely not. It can be done better, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I enjoy it for what it is. I do.
Billy brought something up that I almost forgot about.
Let's go, Billy.
Two-Face was done. It's like the writers had no idea who the character was. He doesn't flip the coin till he gets what he wants.
Right,
the
right,
coin dictates. It's like Tommy Lee Jones had no idea who the character was.
right.
And I don't think that was necessarily Tommy Lee Jones's fault, but I don't think that. So we all know that there was behind the scenes problems with him and Jim Carrey. The Two-Face. And here's the thing, and like I'll bring it back to my original point. The villains can make or break your story. For sure. Your Batman villains, the rogues gallery for Batman, are just as important, if not more important, than who's playing Batman. Because you could have Ben Affleck as Batman, but if you have Tommy Lee Jones as the Riddler, like I'm not that was by the way, I said that completely wrong.
Two-Face
still holds up, because if you had Tommy Lee Jones as the Riddler, you'd be fucked.
I mean, look, I think
language.
I think Tommy did a good job for what he was given. Like he obviously was competing with Jim, who is the man. He is literally what you see in the movie is how he is in real life. I got to be on a set with him and do a little scene with him in this movie that they did here in Vegas, and he is that way all the time. Yeah. He is 100% going.
Right.
So, and I can imagine, Tommy is a Academy Award winning top, dramatic.
Top. But then they bring him in as Two-Face, who's like, this plasticky face, they bring him in as like, and Two-Face for the most part is a serious Batman villain, right? So not only do you have the most outlandish Batman villain in the Riddler, or like this Riddler, I should say, right? Mm-hmm. But you have like polar opposites and villains in Jim Carrey's Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones is
And
is
I liked that.
Two-Face, which
I did
made
like
for made for a good
dynamic.
yin yang dynamic. But
Right.
I don't think Tommy Lee Jones is Two-Face was actually Two-Face, because that when I saw him, I didn't really know who Two-Face was. Over the years I've gotten better. Not gotten better, but gotten more well versed in the character of Two-Face, and I don't think that Tommy Lee Jones embodied like any of the motivations or the real like driving force that moves Two-Face's story arc along. Right? Like there was none of that in it. It was just,
and
look at this guy with half a burned face, and he flips a coin until he gets what he wants.
They definitely didn't give him. Carrie did get like a whole kind of arc where you see Edward Nygma, go crazy, and he's got these interactions with Bruce, and you don't get that with Tommy Lee and Two-Face. I think you literally get one quick flash of the courtroom scene where the acid spills on his face or whatever.
Right.
And that's it. That's really the only backstory you get. So I would agree with that. But yeah, they didn't even give the audience a reason to really emotionally care for that character.
Sorry, I was trying to look at something. But so here's the and integrity. I am definitely going to check out this fan edit that you're talking about.
Yes.
I
am
interested. And I think everyone should check it out if it's that good. Or if it does what. So basically, what he's saying is he's all for that Schumacher cut, but what he's trying to tell everyone is the fan edit I'm mentioning is basically the Schumacher cut with some jokes trimmed. Which I'm going to check that out. Would make it a better film. Take some of the jokes out, but enter in some of those deleted scenes that apparently make the film, and we're in a world where we can definitely we have proof of what taking little scenes out, right? So we have BVS, the Ultimate Edition. You see when you take cut scenes out or scenes that you might think not, or the studio might think aren't needed, but once you play the film to a theatrical audience, you see that the timing is now off. You see that the tone is weird. You're jumping from scenes without getting all the information. So I do think that we, as a fan base for Batman, and in the respect for the creator as Joel Schumacher, I think it would be great to be able to see that, to see what he actually made, to see what he actually did.
It's like you said, the Snyder Cut was I think the first time in history that fans called for something and it happened. That was where it was a first, but it was not like the first time a movie's been recut and Richard Donner's Superman 2, I think Superman 2 or 3 is one of those two that the studio cut it and then he re-released it. I think in the 90s or early 2000. His cut that everybody kind of agrees it's a significantly different and better film. Blade Runner has 5 cuts.
That's a crazy one, dude. That's such a crazy one. But I'd be interested to watch it. I wonder how long have they been calling for this Schumacher cut?
I'm pretty sure it came around about the time of the Snyder
because I had never heard about this Schumacher thing. There's another version of the Schumacher Batman.
Right. I only heard about it after Snyder cut. I think weird. I think people started investigating other, what other movies did this happen to,
Right. I definitely think that Kilmer is definitely up there on the list, right? Clearly we had him at number 4. And I don't think a lot of people would even put him that far up, simply because they didn't like that movie. But we did respect him as his Batman. And I do think that if given the chance, right? If given the opportunity to see that Schumacher cut, I think it would maybe change some minds. I think it definitely suffered from, jumbled scenes, too much campiness, a little bit too much. A Batman film can be campy. We all get that. But it's when you layer it on like that, pound for pound for pound for pound.
Right.
That campiness, it really starts to get at you. So
Integrity says the Schumacher cut was being talked about back in 2005, which I wouldn't be surprised.
I was gonna say it sounds weird to say oh, that came out that Schumacher cut idea originated at the same time as the Snyder cut.
Right.
I feel like I haven't been hearing about it, but I feel like this was a known fact that the movie was messed with, or at least tampered with and tinkered with before its release, right? So
yeah.
It's like you said, it's on and off for 16 years. It's not new by any means. And then there's a 3-hour cut of Superman 78. There's we all know that like every movie that's ever come out, besides if it's an indie film, right? Any studio movie, there's changes that the studio makes. It's pretty hard to get around. If you're making a movie for a studio like Warner Brothers, for them to not change anything, you would have to make a damn near perfect, by their standards, damn near perfect film.
And by their standards, Blade Runner's original cut was terrible. So
right.
That goes to show you how
right.
your judgment goes. What's up, Carlos?
And before we move on to number 3, guys, we have to do it. We have to do it. I'm sorry. I know.
It's time.
I'm sorry, guys. We have to do it in order to keep the lights on. But I'll start it off and we'll go pretty quick. All right. So today we are brought to you by Bonk's Bar in Philadelphia. If you're ever in the Philadelphia area, Bonk's specializes in seafood and good times. Our resident producer, Jack, hosts trivia there on Tuesday nights. And if you want to go there, mention Pop Culture Corner to Jack. Your first drink is on the house for trivia, courtesy of Pop Culture Corner. For any of their menu specials or just their menu in general, click the link in the description below or go to their website or social media. Thank you for supporting Bonks throughout this pandemic. It's the restaurant industry and basically the customer service industry in general. We have to support them, guys. We are also brought to you by
Kai CBD from Las Vegas, Nevada. It's a Las Vegas-based health and wellness brand that crafts a full-spectrum CBD hemp-derived product line made with 100% love. The brand was created by a 20-year licensed massage therapist for her husband who suffers from chronic pain. Healing is what Kai lives for, so head on over to their Facebook or Instagram. Their links are in the description below. And send them a message and use the code POPCULTURECORNER for 10% off any order. So go ahead, guys. Let them know what you want. Check out their menu on Facebook or Instagram and get yourself some CBD.
Hell yeah. Alrighty, guys. Back to it, baby. So we're on to number 3. In our all live action Batman ranked. And again, for any of those of you who are just tuning in, the list as of right now, we'll do a little recap. We have number 8 as Lewis Wilson's serial, his 15 serial theatrical. We have number 7 at George Clooney's Batman, number 6 at Adam West, number 5 at Lego Batman, and number 4 is Val Kilmer. So obviously everyone knows now who the final 3 have come down. And this is where lists, I was telling Austin, this is where the list really this is where friendships can be broken. They can be broken. But
that's right.
In that brokenness, you can also forge these strong bonds, right? These very strong bonds in your final 3 Batman. So right. number 3 for us, guys, take it or leave it. Agree or don't agree, but it is Austin.
It is Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's
Michael
Batman
Keaton
at number 3. This one was a really hard one, man. This one really, really hard to come over and talk about. But so why is Batman 89 and Batman Returns? Why is that? Why is Keaton your number 3?
Well, I will say this, as much as I'm not a fan of like the Bruce Wayne part, his Batman's pretty cool. I do like his Batman. I think more so than anything, I enjoy Tim Burton's interpretation of Gotham. This dark, gothic, I really, that's for me is the biggest part. I think they nailed Gotham. They nailed the environment that Batman, is in, especially like in Batman Returns, you have like Penguin, is this like creepy little dude that lives under the sewer, eats fish. I think all that type of stuff. I think it worked. I liked Timber. It was this for me. If even though it wasn't like necessarily all the stuff straight out of the comics, it felt like it made sense in the world of Batman, you know?
Right. And okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing about Michael Keaton's Batman. For a lot of people, Michael Keaton is their Batman. I do think that at the time when Batman 89 came out, a lot of people were expecting a different thing. They were expecting a Batman, kind of a jokey, corny, comic booky Batman.
Right.
And
More Adam West style.
what they got was a way more serious take on the character. They got, and this is what, for me, if Gotham is not a character in the movie, then you have not done Batman right. Because
Absolutely.
Gotham in itself is a central character in any Batman story. Gotham is a living, breathing character that should have its own story, right? I think what the Dark Knight trilogy did for Gotham, it I don't think did Gotham the way Gotham's supposed to be done.
I agreed.
Whereas Zack Snyder's Gotham is very much a place, right? It's this place that you couldn't just open up a United States map and point at Pittsburgh or Chicago or wherever and be like, yeah, that's what this is, right?
Nolan's Batman or Gotham feels just pretty much like New York City.
Right. And Burton's Batman, right? Burton's Batman, even kind of Schumacher's Batman, I should say. But
I think that's the continuity thing, that we were talking about earlier, where they were supposed to be sequels. So I think that's why they kept the same type of world.
Right, where the criminals in Gotham aren't just your typical criminals. They're very like out there. They're very strange. They're not someone you'd want to run into in an alley.
Right.
They're just different people that, like, Gotham has always been a character. When you take a Batman comic book and you open it up, Gotham is a character, and it's always made out to look like this very gothic, this gothic landscape. It seems to always be nighttime in Gotham, right?
Right,
the city breathes a different kind of air.
There's different, sections and stuff with these creeps and weirdos. You have guys like I enjoyed that in Burton's Batman. You have these like little games with like all these guys with weird glow in the dark masks, faces, and like very I enjoyed that. Yeah.
So and that's what I think that 89 and Returns and those older Batman films did, was they did create a Gotham that you couldn't just point at on a map. I mean, maybe Transylvania, similarities to Transylvania, I suppose, but Batman 89, and I think it will go down as one of the all-time greatest Batman, no matter who plays him in the future, who has played him in the past. I think that Michael Keaton will always get a top ranking on anyone's list, simply due to the fact that when you think of Batman, for a lot of people, Michael Keaton comes up.
Yep.
And that's no surprise. That's no surprise. For me, is that true? No. But there's a reason that he is coming back in The Flash. There's a reason.
And now that I think about it, I'm sure again it was probably a studio thing, that there were probably some points to Keaton's performance that they were like, hey, maybe not too dark or too serious. But my hope is, when he shows up in The Flash, that we see a, pretty serious, older,
like that
dark Keaton. Yeah.
The movie dog says he saw Batman 89 at the first showing. He was the first in line and got special tops. What is it, tops?
Got a special tops movie magazine for being
tops
the first.
Movie magazine for being the first in line. And dude, this premiere was so big for Batman 89. It was huge. So big, dude. It was definitely one of the first blockbuster movies, like high budget comic book films. And it really did kick off this the movie world that we know today, like with comic book movies. The premiere was this extravagant, Hollywood premiere with, Batman logos and Keaton, the Batmobile. Like,
I think they had the bat signal, like.
Yeah, and so what we're gonna do is we'll take a look at what I pulled up earlier, but we're gonna take a look at the official Batman 89 trailer. I think it's still to this day, it brings back a lot of feelings for people.
Yep.
And
Integrity. Okay. Integrity. I agree. I'm hoping that we see Michael as like a Batman Beyond.
Grammarly.
Batman, hopefully.
Right. And so what are you expecting to see with Keaton coming back? Do you think he'll be so a lot of people don't want to see him in the same exact suit. They want to see some progression. And I do think that that's a fair point, right?
Yeah, I'd like to have seen some progression for sure.
But you would have to pay homage to that suit because that suit needs to be showcased in some form, whether it's in a glass case, you know,
Right,
when we meet him. But that's a lot. And I don't know, did you watch Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yeah. Which one? The animated movie or the CW stuff?
The CW stuff. They do go to 89.
Yeah, I did.
The Earth
Yeah.
89. They don't show Batman, but it's a guy with a newspaper.
Right.
That guy played someone else, I believe, too. That guy,
Okay.
the guy with the newspaper played somebody. I can't remember who it was. But they take a trip to Earth 89, and you know you get that feel all of a sudden. That music plays, and I think that's what really sparked people wanting Keaton back. And
Yeah.
I do think that Keaton's going to go on to be that Batman Beyond.
That would be so cool. I've always been one that I've always wanted like a Batman Beyond movie series, or something too. I think that would have been cool. And I think Keaton's the perfect because he's grown so much as an actor too. I mean, I don't know that I would have at the time when he played Batman called him the greatest talent, you know, but now I can certainly say he's one of the greatest actors to be around for sure.
For sure. The newspaper guy was Robin from the Adam West Batman.
Burt Reynolds. Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Burt Reynolds.
Okay. Burt Reynolds.
Not Burt Reynolds. God, what's his name? His name's Burt, isn't it?
Burt Connolly? No. I don't remember. But here's the Batman 89, the first trailer that came out. And what a trailer, man. What a trailer it is.
Vicky Vale.
Bruce Wayne.
And what do you do for
You want to get tough?
Lieutenant, is there a 6-foot bat in Gotham City?
Nice outfit.
You look fun.
Wait, this is not the trailer.
This is like a clip.
This seems like a cut.
Oh no, it's the trailer. It is. It is.
I have
sure?
given a name.
Trailers were weird back then.
Oh, so yeah, you want to get nuts, not tough. I don't know why I said that. Burt Ward.
Burt Ward.
Where did you get those wonderful toys?
How is this a trailer?
My
This isn't the
life
one I
is
remember.
Really complex.
Winged freak terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
Yeah.
Wow, that trailer was terrible.
Hey man, it was a different era. Trailers were weird back then.
Yeah, but you know what? I would have rathered the guy that speaks in the trailers to be there. In a world where
Right.
Batman fucking flies around. You know? Let's find a different one. Because I don't think that did it justice. But yeah, are you okay with Keaton coming back?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and I think he will play it pretty dark in Batman Beyond. So I'm pretty excited. I mean, I've enjoyed literally all of Keaton's last movies, Birdman and Spotlight and American Assassin. I think he's grown immensely since the 80s, you know?
Right. All right. Well, I guess not. I guess we're not going to watch anything else of that.
I think
there is one thing I wanted to say. Where was it? Oh, the Batman and the Joker stuff here.
Shopping with Google helps you find whatever you're looking
Come on,
for.
ads.
Like
I don't want to
headphones
give Google any
or
money.
your favorite song. You can find the best value, read reviews, even see what's
I should've
available
kept with those
nearby.
ad blockers.
Your best shopping starts with Google.
Shut up.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Like lines like that, like you ever dance with the devil in the pale
Him in
moonlight?
Pale Moonlight. Bam.
Kill you.
Like this was a serious take.
You made me. Remember? You dropped me into that vat of chemicals. That wasn't easy to get over. Don't think that I didn't try.
And Jack Nicholson's Joker is iconic in his own right.
Phenomenal, absolutely.
Again, it brings us back to the point again. Is the villain will make or break the story. I wasn't a huge fan of Batman Returns,
Right.
but I mean that's just me.
You killed my parents.
What? Huh. What are you talking about?
I made you. You made me first.
Hey, bad brain.
And I didn't like that part of it.
Killed your parents.
Yeah, that Joker's the one that kills the pit.
I
Yeah.
didn't like.
I didn't like. I was just about to bring that up. That's not.
Wouldn't hit a guy with
That
glasses,
wasn't my.
would you?
That wasn't. That wasn't for me.
Right.
Because I think that changes. Here, let me pause this. I think when they did that, when they decided that Joker was the one who killed Batman's parents, that changes the Batman aspect. That changes the relationship between Batman and the Joker, because it's personal at that point. Batman and Joker, it's never personal. Yes, they're rivals. They're the opposites of each other, right? Some will even go as far to say as if there was no Batman, there would be no Joker. Without the Joker, there is no Batman, right? But if you take the Joker and you have him be the one that murdered Bruce Wayne's parents, you're defining Batman by the Joker at that point, right? That means that the Joker creates the Batman, right? By killing his parents. And I don't like that because the fact that Joe Chill is the one who does it, right, is the one that kills Bruce Wayne's parents. And then the trials that creates Batman, and then yada yada yada. Years go on and things happen, and the Joker's also created. Like that is the way it's supposed to be, and that creates a dynamic between Batman and the Joker that's different than if the Joker were to kill Bruce Wayne's parents.
Right. And I think if anything, when the Joker, gets personal and where it should be done is like, Death in the Family, where Joker kills Jason Todd. That's where, things get personal between.
Right. And that happens, after it doesn't, Batman knows who the Joker is when that happens.
Right.
They've had years of fights between the two and conflicts between the two. Right. And it gets personal. It never, because when you start it at personal, when you start when you start Batman and Joker's responsible for the Batman's parents' death, which essentially creates the Batman, you're changing everything. The whole origin of Batman, you're completely uprooting it and changing it, and you're changing the dynamic between Joker and Batman. And I don't like that. I don't like when because the way it happened is the way I think it should always happen is, you don't know whether Joker would be around if there was no Batman. You don't know if, you just don't know. Like there's a certain enigma around the Joker that you really don't know why he's doing what he does. What was his motivations? Why is he doing the things he does? Why does he hate Batman so much?
Right.
In this one, you're like, okay, well, he hates Batman because Batman hates him. He created Batman, yada yada. So it gives it. It's a very like.
It's a weird thing,
It's stupid, and I can't explain it well enough. But I did not like that they chose that to do that, and I never will get behind it. I don't like it. I like the Joe Chill aspect of it. I like that some random guy in an alley, kills Batman's parents. That inspires him to, do the things that he does and become the person he is.
Yeah.
I don't like if that's it. I don't know. Maybe I can't explain it well enough. But So Integrity says, I understand, you make good points, but I disagree. I'm glad they changed it and glad they fixed it with Ledger's Joker. Joker killing Wayne's makes for a more unique Batman interpretation. Wait, Ledger's Joker didn't kill.
The Waynes. I don't know.
No, he didn't. It was Joe Chill.
Yeah.
I don't understand what he's saying here. Oh, you mean they fixed it with Ledger's Joker? Like they changed it back to the way it was supposed to be? Okay. All right. So good. Nicholson's Joker looks comic accurate. Yeah, he does. I thought Heath Ledger's Joker brings something to it that we didn't know we needed. Is that real like shit, dude? This guy's serious. Whereas Jack Nicholson's Joker is very like, comedic in ways, and we knew. And another thing about Jack Nicholson's Joker is we knew his origin.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. Again, that brings us back to that point. Is I don't want to know Joker's origins. I don't want to know his name. I don't want to know what he looks like under the paint either. I don't want to know these things. Some people say, "Well, I do want to know." Well, I don't think we should. I think the essence of who the Joker is that anyone could be, just like anyone could be Batman, right? If you're looking at it from the city's point of view or the world's point of view, the same way that anyone could be Batman, anyone could be the Joker, and all it takes but between the two is one bad day, right? So I love that aspect of it. Is you and I could be Batman and the Joker, but the next day, just because one bad day and you had one good day, you become the Batman, I become the Joker. Like there's a very unique aspect to the relationship between the two, and one embodies good, one embodies evil, right? And I really like that internal conflict that you have, is maybe not knowing who the Joker is and or knowing why he does what he does. He just does it.
I think I'm also one of those people that I personally, I do like to know. I do kind of want to know. Like I enjoyed the Killing Joke, right? The Killing Joke, basically Joker's, one of Joker's origins. He loses his wife and all this, and kind of like you said, it's one bad day turns him into the Joker. So I think in those certain aspects, and even like with Todd Phillips' Joker, I know there's no comic, it's not adapted of any, but I liked that idea. I liked, okay.
And and I know I'm going to sound like I'm contradicting myself here. I didn't mind that Joker because I knew it was like a Black Label thing, right? It was not supposed to be in any universe. It was literally told to you like this, we are not following anything. Like we are literally taking the character of the Joker and we're basing a movie on it. That does not mean we're going to grab a comic book and give him a perfect origin. We're going to do what we want. And I think that's why we all understood that we went into it with that expectation, is we really don't know what we're getting. And, and that's different. But whereas Jack Nicholson's Joker was supposed to be the Joker, right? It's the Joker in a Batman universe, or a Batman film. So they took liberties. And I think, again, I think that's a lot of my problems with it now, looking back on it. When I was watching it as a kid, I didn't have those same problems with it. It was fun to just see Batman and Joker on screen.
Yeah.
Right? So, I again, it's going to be different for everyone. And that's I like what Integrity said, is that's the cool thing about Batman and Batman films and the Joker. Like there are so many versions of it where you can pick which one is your favorite and why. And everyone can have their own Batman, right? So I don't know. Moving on to number 2. Number 2, guys. And that now I'd like to see, let us know in the comments who you think number 2 is. Is it Ben Affleck or is it Christian Bale? Before we reveal the truth, I would like to see what you guys think. Who is number 2? Who is number 2 on your list? Let us know. Let us know now.
Dun, dun, dun. Bale. We're going to Bale.
It seems as
Bale.
if they all know me too well.
Bale. All right, calm down there, Carlos. Breathe, okay? No. Oh, we got a number 2 as Affleck. Keaton is number
Ooh.
1.
Yeah, but Keaton
Okay.
is number 1. Then what is Bale? Number 3?
Whoa.
What Jack says Affleck. Yeah, you're out of your goddamn mind. And me and Jack have had this argument so many times about like, and so I have a lot to say on number 2, which is Christian Bale's Batman. So
That's right.
number 2 coming in on the list of theatrical Batman live action is Christian Bale. Now I'm going to start it off with this. I think that Christian Bale does a wonderful job as Batman. For a long time, he was my Batman, right? He was because there was no, but I didn't know that. So when Christian Bale's Batman was on, he definitely for me was the number 1 Batman. But it wasn't until Affleck came out that I knew that there's no way Bale is number 1. It's Affleck all day, every day. And there's a reason for it, and there's a reason behind all of it. I've always said this, that I think that if you plucked Batman out of the Nolan trilogy and replaced him with, say, James Bond, it's the same movie. It is the same exact movie. And you could take Batman out of that story and put like a super spy or John Wick or, any of these characters like that in it, and you really get the same movie. Batman is not Batman in this film, whereas he is a, like a super spy agent guy. But and that's my problem with it. That's my problem with it.
It's definitely ultra grounded in reality.
Very grounded.
Ultra grounded. There's very little, for you to go like, oh, that's in a fantasy. I think that was the point of Nolan's films. It was, if Batman was real in our world, how would it work? And I think that he succeeded in telling that story. But I mean, I like Bale's Batman a lot. For me, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to choose because Batfleck is playing a very specific interpretation that he nails. And then Bale is also playing, he's not necessarily playing the world's greatest detective version. Like you said, he's more of a spy or James Bond,
Right.
But I think both of them exceed incredibly well in their interpretations.
I just think that the reason people love the Bale trilogy is because of Heath Ledger. And I don't think that people look at it the same way. If Heath Ledger was never in, so if Heath Ledger never gets cast as the Joker, and we get some another iteration who maybe didn't do as well, and by the terms of us looking at it, knowing Heath Ledger's Joker, which is kind of hard to follow, I know. But say that we went back in time and we cast someone else as the Joker in Dark Knight, and he doesn't do as well. I don't think we love this trilogy as much as we do. And I don't think, I think The Dark Knight Rises was very subpar.
I loved it.
I left the theater so disappointed. Disappointed. And for me, Bale's Batman was never really like, yeah, Batman Begins was a really fun movie. And I think that Batman Begins, take The Dark Knight out of the equation, right? Take that second movie out of the equation, because I don't think that one, like, that movie could stand alone in my mind. But Batman Begins is much better than The Dark Knight Rises.
See, I disagree. I didn't like Batman Begins.
Really?
I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you. Like, there was very little of that movie that made me want to come back for a sequel.
Well, the thing, except for that last part part where you see the card.
Yeah, that was it.
in Batman Begins, some things that take away from Batman Begins are the hand-to-hand combat. It's
great.
Heavily, no, it's not. It's heavily edited, and it's very.
Oh, really?
It's very.
I
tight.
liked it. That was one of the few things I liked.
Oh yeah, so the hand-to-hand combat in Batman Begins, and for much of the Dark Knight saga, the hand-to-hand combat's really tight, and it's heavily edited in a way where it's hard to focus on.
I will say that for me,
Bale's
the
Batman
Dark Knight
is really defensive. He's a defensive martial artist. He is not like for me, Batman is a brute, right? He's a brute, but he's also spry in his way. Like Batman is just he's encompasses like everything about like just the greatest detective in the world, right? Is like, but he can go toe to toe, hand to hand. He can go to toe to toe, mind to mind, but and all the in every sense of the word. But whereas Bale's Batman, I thought was very like a lot of his was counter strikes where he would get punched, block it, come back with a punch. It was very martial arty. And whereas then we got Ben Affleck's Batman, and you see what Batman's really supposed to be like.
Right. And I get that. I get like Dark Knight Rises, that whole end fight sequence is probably one of the most like choreographed. You can tell, everybody's in their spot on their mark, fighting, doing the, it's just it doesn't look, like it would actually happen. But the two things I enjoyed out of Batman Begins was Ra's al Ghul and like the training fighting montages and stuff of him training. That I did like. Those were probably the two things that I enjoyed. But other than that, I felt like there was a lot of missed opportunity with Nolan and like the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul.
Dude,
like that whole thing could have been the trilogy.
Story.
That whole thing could have been the trilogy.
I could
like a League of Shadows,
Yeah, and this is the thing, exactly what Carlos said. I could never buy Bale's Batman being the most skilled fighter on Earth with the knowledge of fight styles known to man. I couldn't either because he uses one style consistently, and that's defensive martial art. Like,
Right.
He is a defensive fighter, and you'll see it. Like even in the fight against Bane at the end, at the Dark Knight Rises, he is defending. He's first and foremost defending himself, but countering when he can. And for me, that's not what Batman is. Batman and like Bale's Batman, I found to be very like the voice thing. I think a lot of people have problems with.
Oh really? You don't like?
I didn't have a problem with the voice thing.
Okay.
But I did have a problem with his Bruce Wayne. With his Bruce Wayne, I had a lot of problems with. Yeah, so I don't know. Do tell? Okay.
Do tell.
Well,
because I thought he was a slick Bruce Wayne.
Okay, ready? So the problem I have with his Bruce Wayne is that he's a better Bruce Wayne than Batman, and I don't think that you can be one or the other. You need to be both. So the problems that I have are I feel like he did a much better job as Bruce Wayne than he did as Batman. And I know that sounds stupid, like saying, all right, well, you don't like it because you liked it more. No, I don't like it because I think that he did a better job as Bruce Wayne.
Right.
I don't like it, the fact that he's better at Bruce Wayne than he is at Batman. That's not Batman. Like
I can see that.
Bruce Wayne is actually the mask. Bruce Wayne is the show that Batman puts on.
Right.
Right. And I think Bale did that well, right? When he was like, picking up sloozies and bringing ballerinas to the party and all that stuff. I think he did a much better job at that than he did as an in-suit Batman. And for me, that's a problem.
This is interesting. Problem. So Integrity pulls up. You got to remember Bale's Batman is appealing to the Batman doesn't kill fans. So, of course, he is less brutal, more defensive, more Mr. Miyagi.
Good point.
I agree. However, I have an issue with this whole Batman doesn't kill BS. I take issue with that. I agree. Maybe he doesn't kill outright directly. Doesn't walk around with a gun like he used to, when he first started. Mm-hmm. But you can't tell me that in some of these comics that, okay, maybe they're not
Batman
dead.
Started off as a brutal killer.
Yeah.
People forget. People forget. Actual source material started off with Batman didn't have that code. That code never existed until years later.
Exactly.
And people do like to forget that part, but there's so many comic runs where Batman, will like, and what I did like about something that they did in the Dark Knight, it was actually in Batman Begins, but when Affleck, when Bale says to Ra's al Ghul, he's like, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. And he lets him go. I did like that. I like that scene because that's Batman. In the later years, that is Batman. Yeah, I'm not going to kill you, and I won't be the reason you die, but I'm not going to save you either. And then he goes, right?
Exactly.
So Batman killing is like subjective, right? Some people think like
it is for me. I mean, I people are very, big on that. I'm thinking like, okay, fine. If some of these guys aren't dead, they're brain dead or in a coma for 6 months. Straight up, or all of their bones are broken and you don't want to be alive. Like, I mean, I think people just, it's not, people don't want to see him obviously just go out with a gun and start going off, like
Right.
Red Hood or something. But I think people get a little too tight about that.
Yeah, and Bale's Batman, I think, was definitely right. So back to my original point, as always, is the villains in your story will make or break you, right? And I do think that Ra's al Ghul, Liam Neeson, was a good villain, and I do think that Heath Ledger was a great villain, and you're only as good as like the person that you're fighting in this context.
Right.
And his fight and his conflict with the Joker was by far one of that dynamic. Like when they're in the room, the interrogation room, one of my favorite scenes of all time. One of my favorite of all time.
Where is he?
Yeah, because you can see Batman like breaking down and almost getting to a point where he would break his rule.
Speaking of which, I think also included in this whole live action thing, we should include the College Humor Batman, because that's up there for sure.
Are you serious?
Oh, absolutely. Come on, man.
Okay. Well, maybe next time. I didn't include it this time, but that's
Tell me you've seen the College Humor stuff at least, right? College Humor.
I have.
Batman.
I have.
Okay.
I have, yes. I do agree with Carlos on a lot of things about this Bruce Wayne. But last thing we'll do here is we'll take a look at the first trailer that came out for it, which was actually fire. I remember when the Dark Knight,
yeah.
and I'm gonna do the Dark Knight. I'm not gonna do Batman Begins for obvious reasons. I remember how gripping this trailer was.
Garnier Hold Lens
Come on!
something big. It's new sulfate free.
Sorry.
That terrified me.
I'll let that pass. We don't have to watch that. Oh yeah, and if Bruce doesn't kill Talia, right? Didn't he kill Talia?
Right.
So
who did?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Batman villains and characters.
Where do we begin? A year ago, these cops and lawyers wouldn't dare cross any of you. I mean, what happened?
So what are you proposing?
It's simple. Kill the Batman. Here's my card.
Bruce, this is Harvey Dent.
Rachel's told me everything about you.
I certainly hope not. You once told me that we'd be together. Did you mean it?
Bruce, don't make me your only hope for a normal life.
You're Alfred, right?
That's right, sir.
Any psychotic ex-boyfriends I should be aware of?
Oh, you have no idea.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're tonight's entertainment. Well, hello, beautiful. You look nervous.
I've seen now what would have to become to stop men like him.
The night is darkest just before the dawn. I promise you,
The dawn is coming. And here we go. This city deserves a better class of criminal. I'm gonna give it to him. No! You'll see. I'll show you.
you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
in the back pot, sir?
Middle of the day, Alfred? Not very subtle.
The Lamborghini, then. Much more subtle.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that's phenomenal. That's like a 10 out of 10.
Whatever you're looking
Obviously,
for,
it's phenomenal. Let me
your
stop
best
it and do it.
shopping starts with Google.
Shut up, Google. I got it.
Whoa, Google.
And listen, again, there's no denying it. That's why he's number 2. That's why he's
Yeah.
number 2, right? And not number 5, right? Bale's Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy in general. I do think, and so I know we brought it up, you know, what if Heath Ledger wasn't in it? But
Right.
to counter that point, if Heath Ledger didn't die and was in Dark Knight Rises, I think maybe the trilogy overall does a better job, because we
Right.
know that the Joker was going to come back
Exactly.
in some form. Some people think that he was only going to, you remember the Scarecrow, how he's like the judge in that
Right,
scene?
right, right.
People seem to think that was what the Joker was going to be. And I find that to be absolute horse shit, because you don't bring back Heath Ledger's Joker to sit on a chair and
Right.
tell people whether they're going to get thrown out on the ice. That's not what he does, right?
That's a no-no.
He would be right there in it. No, I don't think that's true, Carlos. There's no way you bring back the Joker to play that minimal, tiny role. Like, there's no way, not right? There's no way. At least for me, unless Christopher Nolan specifically said that, I won't believe it. And even if he did say it, I won't believe it, because you can go back and say things with it, say things about it now. But when it actually came to writing the story, I want to know what was going to happen, because there's no way you bring back, like, I would have loved to see more Arkham in The Dark Knight. And I think that's a big problem with that we didn't get.
Right.
Arkham was barely. Was Arkham even in it once?
I think once. I do think it was in there once.
Yeah, that was in Batman Begins. That's where
Was it once? Yep.
That's where he's doing the stuff, the trials and shit, for the gas. Yes, but I think that to see maybe a Joker in Arkham, breaking out of Arkham, that would have been really fun to see in The Dark Knight Rises, because when Gotham gets shut down by Bane and Talia, to see what happens with the Joker at Arkham. Like him, like all of a sudden just getting out and like being freed by Bane. What happens then, right?
And see, that's the thing where I think people were hoping like, and it's kind of weird because yes, it would have been cool for me, but I also, he is a little older. You know, I think Ben Affleck's Batman was going to have a lot of Arkham in it. You know, I think that was going to be his thing, is that they're going to focus on the Arkham.
Yeah.
Only problem is Bruce Train.
So what? But they say that I think in total he was Batman for around 10 years.
He was Batman for 10 years.
And then he retires.
Because there's significant time passes for Batman Begins and Dark Knight and Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Yeah.
Yeah. So and we see that when he's in the cane and like.
And in fact, yeah, Dark Knight Rises picks up 8 years after the Dark Knight.
It's quite some time after.
Yeah, it's quite some time.
And you know, the Rachel storyline with her being subtly recast. I think I don't really think that was a problem for me, but you'll always remember it, right? Like you'll always remember that it was 2 different people. That like you know, and at that point, it's hard to say that that I really didn't like her character, either one of them. And that's for different reasons, but actually you're saying, so Bale was only active as Batman for about 2 years? How?
That doesn't make sense. Yeah. Batman Begins, and then there's time jump in The Dark Knight, where he's already, and you see that too, he's like upgraded technology. He goes in, you know, he's in, was it Japan or whatever, that he does that, like, you know, whole fly thing. Ben Affleck's Batman versus
I really want, and we'll get to Ben Affleck in a sec, clearly. But
Batfleck.
You know, I do think, and I know a lot of people kind of wanted Bale to come back as instead of Keaton. But here's the problem with that is you'd fuck up the whole Dark Knight trilogy by bringing him into this, because that Batman like I said, can be replaced with a spy. Like there's no other superheroes in that world. There's no
Right.
metahumans in that world. To bring him into the Flash would totally screw everything up about the Dark Knight trilogy. The grounded aspect of it,
Right.
the realism of it. It would take that all away. And I don't
Well,
think
and
that's
and what's nice, I think Bale has said that he would never do it unless Nolan was doing it.
right.
Unless Nolan said we're doing 4, that's the only way Bale's coming back as Batman.
And even then, I think the story would have to be right.
Yeah, I mean, and it would have to be obviously that he's not necessarily Batman. They pass on the mantle to
which
Joseph
I would have
Gordon-Levitt.
loved to see explored. I
Yep.
would have loved to see
That was a
Gordon-Levitt.
phenomenal ending, you
Oh,
know,
man.
with him entering the cave and going up and like,
I would have loved to see that come into play, like a second trilogy of basically Robin turning into Nightwing, right?
Right.
Because they did it a little differently, where his actual name was Robin.
Yeah, his middle name or whatever is Robin, I think.
No, it's his actual first name, because she says.
Oh, that's right, and he goes by. That's right.
He goes by a different name, and she's like, "Oh, I don't have you on the list." And he's like, "Oh, look, my actual name is Robin." And then she's like,
Right.
you know, then it starts from there. And I would have loved to see maybe Chris Nolan or pass that off to somebody and say, "Yeah, you could do this trilogy for as like a continuation thing." I would have loved to see Gordon-Levitt while he was young, while he was in his prime. Back in 2012, 2013, wherever it was, 2014, take on a trilogy like that, really. And he blew up in his own way, but you know, that would have been really fun to see. It would have been really cool, and I really would have loved that. But the moment that we've all been waiting for. What was that? I think we'll just stop here, right?
Yeah,
we're done. We're done
after Batfleck. Yeah.
No, we're done now, right? There's no such thing as Batfleck.
Oh yeah, it's done. Finished.
All right.
No more Batman, guys.
Yeah, I had a really good time. But we're gonna have to go now. But seriously, any final thoughts on Bale?
It seems by the chat, and I don't know, I'm pretty surprised. I guess people were a lot more critical of Bale's Batman than
much more critical than you would ever expect, actually.
Than I thought. I mean, I don't have that many criticisms of Bale's Batman. I really enjoyed,
and I think that a lot of the criticisms came after
Ben Affleck became
Batman, because you see exactly what Batman could have been, right? And
I understand that. But also, they're two very different stories. You know, one Batman is literally in a world where superheroes don't exist. One is, you know, they're two literally. And so I think the Batman for Nolan's world is phenomenal. The Batman for Snyder's and Affleck's world is top tier, phenomenal. But they're two. I mean, it's hard to compare for me because they're literally two different worlds. Right. I mean, one has other superheroes, one works alone in our reality, you know?
Right. Yeah. So my final thought is, you know, Bale will always hold a special place in my heart, but the next Batman for me is Batman, and he'll always be Batman, and he needs to come back, and he will come back in some sort of way. But I would love to see him, you know, back in a way where, you know, we get to see some solos and stuff like that. But here we go. Here, I have to get this pulled up here real quick. I know I'm taking like the essence away from it, but that's okay.
The essence.
The essence of like fun, right?
Dun.
The number one Batman of all time, as of right now, forever and always, courtesy of the Pop Culture Corner list. You already know. Don't play like you don't. You already know who it is. That is our big boy, Ben Affleck. Man, dude, this dude is just a monster. This dude is Batman for me. For always, and I didn't know that I needed him, but I did. And I'm so happy that that he was cast. I know there was a lot of controversy surrounding his casting. People didn't know that Ben Affleck is Batman. What? But for the same reasons people thought Keaton wasn't going to do a good job, they didn't think that Affleck was going to do a good job.
Well, I think they had some better reasons than of Keaton, because the fans also had Daredevil to go off of.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't even say that he did a bad job in Daredevil. I think the script was terrible. I think he did what he could. But that's
Ben's younger career is not his it's not his best.
Say what you will, but I do think, like, when we saw this guy, look at that.
Right.
You're gonna tell me that there's even a comparison to be made between that or, let's say, this. Look at Bale. He's so small in comparison.
Yeah,
Like,
but I mean, look
this
at this.
is Batman,
It's just
bro.
like there's comics of, this is obviously the Dark Knight Returns Batman. He's older, he's buff.
But this guy looks like he could walk into a room with 5 goons and single-handedly beat them to a pulp.
Sure, but I still believe Christian Bale could.
I do not.
I think, like I said, I think you can't even compare them. You can't.
No, you're right. I've said that before, that they're not really comparable in their own rights.
I mean, because for me, Bale's is a great interpretation of Batman. But also, like you said, this is literally straight from the comic book, and my all-time favorite comic book, which is Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, and forgive me for using this picture. I know where it's from. Just forgive me. It's one of the ones that I actually dug. This is one of those pictures that I really like.
Right.
But I understand where it's from. And that it was that it's not the original way it was supposed to look. But listen, Ben Affleck embodies the character in every sense of the word. Not only is he a good detective, right? But he very good with his hands technologically wise. Alfred does help him out a lot. And again, I think the Alfred does help Batman. Like, Alfred, the character itself in Batman films is another crucial character, right? Is who's the Alfred to the Batman? Bale and Jesus Christ. Why am I completely dogging this dude right now?
Bale and
his Alfred.
Caine, Michael Caine.
Yeah, Michael Caine. Thank you. I was gonna say something different, but I was like, dude, what?
You don't want to mess it.
I think Michael did a great job as Alfred. Like, a wonderful job.
I had an issue with him by The Dark Knight Rises, but okay.
Yeah, but I think I think he did a good job. But when you're right, in The Dark Knight Rises, I think he was like a little petty. And like,
right. He's like, you need to drop this. I can't watch you do this anymore, and it hurts too much. Like, all right, Michael. Okay, dude.
Yeah, all right. Seriously.
I want to go have my coffee and see you in France with a girl.
Whereas Jeremy Irons, I think, does a really good job. A really good job of, like, balancing Batman.
And I love you see him, like you said, he helps Batman. You see him actually, he's operating, the Batwing, or he's or that other
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler. Thank you. He's operating them remotely. He's helping Batman, and or even he's like, I'll drop you off on the second floor.
Yeah.
These things that he's remotely, like, he's crucial. He's crucial.
Yeah, and that's why I think that Affleck, I think his character, I think his Batman, and because when I look at the categories for Batman, I think of fighting style, the suit, the Batmobile. Don't even get me started on Ben's Batmobile, man. Talk about something that is actually a utility, right?
Right.
Whereas this Bale, they used the tumbler as the Batmobile, which I wasn't too awesome.
I did
about.
like the cycle. I love the cycle.
I did when it would change the wheels.
Yeah, I was like,
that
that's
was
it.
pretty
That's
cool.
it. Yep.
But I think that the Batmobile that Ben Affleck uses is definitely something a 20-year-old Batman has, right? The
Right.
thing is just souped to the teeth. And it really is essential. Like it's part of him. Like when you watch in the Snyder cut, when they get to the Steppenwolf's lair, and he's driving through and
Right.
fighting the parademons off, right?
Right,
Dude,
right, right.
what the like mind-blowing sequence. A mind-blowing sequence. I hate when people try to say that Batman was useless in Justice League. He is not useless. Dude, he's not only the leader of the team, but like he's the one who brings everyone together. Yeah, okay, he's using a one of those guns and like shooting parademons down and like doing what he can in a fight with gods. But dude, he was not useless. That scene where let me look it up. But you keep talking about Ben Affleck for a minute. I'm gonna find the scene.
Integrity mentioned. Yeah, no one ever talks about why Snyder made a brutal Batman in BVS. And yes, I think it is obviously for Snyder's movies and world, it was because he's dealing with Superman. He doesn't know how to react and all that. But all of that also goes back again to the Dark Knight Returns comic, in that this is a very bitter and weary Batman. He's been doing this for 30 plus years and nothing's changed. And in Zack Snyder's world, not only has nothing changed, things have gotten worse, and there's now a god in the picture of it. So he goes from already bitter and angry, to full kill mode. It's full. It's the Earth. It's planet Earth or soups. Which one's gonna? And so,
sorry, keep going.
Yeah, and so that was what I liked most about Ben Affleck's interpretation, is that we've seen all the other types of Batman, but we've never seen a Batman that and I know this was a big complaint. He's branding people in Gotham. He's branding the sex traffickers in Gotham, which is a death sentence in Arkham.
Mm-hmm.
The way that
be, if you're a sex offender in jail, it's a death sentence no matter what.
Right. And so the way that Zach increases that lore, by doing subtle little things like that. And I thought it was interesting because people complained about that, but I thought the impact of just that, okay, you're branded by Batman, you die in prison. Like that's how serious, that's how far gone Ben Affleck's Batman is. And then somebody said that they didn't like how he was toned down a bit in Justice League, and I understand, but I think again that was like, it was so comic book accurate for the progression of his character to go from that to leading the team, getting the team together.
I think Ben's Batman has the most now hear me out on this. The psyche, right? So the psyche of why he does what he does. And a lot of people have a problem, like you said, with how the first Batman we see in the DCEU is this, kind of ruthless, ruthless killer, has no code, is not necessarily the Batman that we know or we love. Well, yeah, he's not. But if you think about the way that Zach lined things up, is that what he wanted to do was show you a Batman you had never seen before. And we were going to get there, right? You can see glimpses of it in Justice League, where he's becoming that Batman that we know again. But grappling with the depression that came with 20 years of fighting crime in Gotham, the Joker killing your adopted son. And that's why that final scene between the Joker and Batman in the Snyder Cut, that means so much. Because you find out why. That's the final. We knew, right? When Ben Affleck looks up at the suit, at the Robin suit, we understand why maybe this Batman is doing what he does or has no code, because he's been the victim of losing a Robin to the Joker in like one of the most brutal ways that's ever been penned. And we see a Batman. So we get this Batman to start. right? This really like fucked up, twisted person. And then, you know, throughout the movies, we're supposed to see him kind of find his hope again, right? So yes, we meet him at a point where we've never really seen Batman live action before, but it's something different. If we did the same Batman every single film, there'd be no reason to cast someone new. There would be, except for maybe age, there'd be no reason to write any new stories. No, we get a Batman that maybe we don't like, right? We're not supposed to love Ben Affleck's Batman in the beginning, right? In BVS.
Right.
In BVS, we're really not supposed to necessarily envy being Batman. We're not. We're supposed to feel the pain. We're supposed to feel the long nights, the bruises, the crippling depression that came with it, right? And it all stems from what the Joker did to him. And it's supposed to mean something. It's supposed to, right? If the Joker kills well, in this story it's Dick Grayson, but let's for all intents and purposes, let's put it back to Jason Todd, because I'll say it wrong if I don't. If we get the Batman we get in BVS and he's some like, you know, code, doesn't kill, right? And then we find out that Jason Todd died at the hand of the Joker the way he did, then we're like, wait, well, why isn't Batman like why isn't he mad? Why isn't he angry about it? Why isn't he like seeking revenge on the Joker? We had to get this kind of Batman for the story that we were getting set up for. The reason that we don't like it, or some people don't like it, is because you haven't seen the whole fucking story.
Yeah.
Right? We haven't got the whole story. And we need to get the whole story in order to be able to look in on it. That's like that, like I said, and I've said this many times. It's like if the Avengers or Marvel stopped doing movies the way that they did them after Age of Ultron didn't get received the way it did. Right? If Marvel was like, fuck, man, we gotta stop. We gotta change courses. We gotta bring new directors in. We gotta change everything, because Age of Ultron wasn't like the way we wanted it to be liked. Yeah, this is a different take on characters. This is a different world that they're living in, right? This Batman is in a world of gods, right?
Yeah.
And he's lost people to the Joker. He's fought in Gotham for 20 years, and at the point we meet him, it seems like he's done nothing, right?
Yeah.
The world is still at odds.
Right.
Imagine doing that in your head, being a 20-year superhero, and nothing has changed.
Yep.
That's going to lead you down some dark paths.
Absolutely.
But we see him redeem himself. So I think there's a lot of reasons that Zach understands the character more than almost any other director. And for me, that's why he's number one, is because I can look at him and I can understand. I understand his pain.
Right.
I understand why he does what he does. There's philosophical debates that you have with yourself about BVS. No other movie has made me feel that way. None. No other movie has made me ask the questions that BVS had me asking myself. Not The Dark Knight. Dark Knight was cool, but it didn't have me asking those questions.
Right.
BVS.
Well, I can definitely say it. Yeah. BVS. I don't know. BVS was very weird for me because I love the Ultimate Edition, but I also remember walking out of that theater and verbally talking about how much I hated that movie with everybody in that theater.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
It's weird for me because I remember I love the Ultimate Edition. I've seen the Ultimate Edition probably like 5 or 6 times. But I also still remember just how upset I was walking out of the theatrical. I walked out of the theatrical and I basically said it's one of the worst comic book movies ever made.
See, I didn't walk out like that. I knew
I
something was off.
So upset. I knew
something was off. You could tell by the tone. You could tell by the way it changed.
It was a little rushed, but I think also an issue, and I still have this issue no matter what with Zack Snyder's stuff. And I love Zack Snyder. I love all it, but I still have this issue. Is he likes to take about 6 or 7 comic book storylines and throw them into one movie. And that's what I'm not too crazy about. Batman versus Superman was Dark Knight Returns, Long Halloween, Death of Superman, right? Like, it was cool, loved getting to see all of the great parts of those. But what makes those stories so great is that you have to tell the full story of each of those.
Right. And again, so I like that Prakash mentioned it. The Martha scene. The Martha scene in BVS is so misunderstood.
It's very misunderstood. Yeah.
At that moment, right, we get this whole movie where Batman, we honestly like you're kind of telling you're looking. Let's pretend the Ultimate Edition is the only one that exists.
Right.
This whole movie, you're yelling at Batman like, dude. Alfred speaks for us at one point and says, he is not our enemy. Like,
yeah.
We're going to go to war with this guy. He brought the war to us. It's like, Batman, you're not seeing things clearly, dude.
Right.
You're not. And us as an audience, we're feeling emotions towards Batman, right? We're not really liking him too much right now because you're not seeing what you need to fucking see. You're clouded by judgment. I mean, your judgment is clouded by your anger towards this guy because you think that if he wanted to tomorrow, he could burn it all down. And yes, maybe he could. But at that moment, he realizes and sees the humanity in Superman and sees this human, not an alien, not Superman. He doesn't see a metahuman. He doesn't see just another guy. He sees a human, like a guy with a mother, with a person, person with feelings.
And see, but see, that's the thing. Ultimate Edition, I saw that immediately. I got that. I was like, oh my gosh, brilliant, right? Where it's not explained in the theatrical, yeah, that was a pretty. It felt very cliche for sure. But again, that's not to Zach's fault. That's to the studio for cutting it.
Yes. And we clearly see with the Ultimate Edition that Zach needs those kind of cutscenes, right? So Zach needs to be able to tell his story because if he can't, you're going to lose some essence of it. So, I mean, that's the list, guys. I mean, I could go on for literally days about Ben Affleck's Batman. I really could. I could. But we are at almost 2 hours already, and we're supposed to be taking a look at...
Wait. Before we go to Batman. Also, best thing about Ben Affleck's Batman, he's the most agile. He's like literally he's able to actually move. He's able to move, period.
His suit's the best, too.
Bale couldn't turn his head until The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, that's how all Batman were, though.
Right.
To that rubbery head that
right.
Really stuck. And it wasn't until The Dark Knight that they realized maybe we should allow him to turn his head. So that's probably a good thing that someone can do. I think the suit in BVS is one of my favorite Batman suits of all time.
Dude.
Because not only does it allow Batman to move, but it protects him. We see him get shot in the head, and it bing, bounces off. Yeah, I mean he feels it. And he's like, "Oh shit!" Yeah, just got shot in the head.
He goes, "Oh yeah."
But that warehouse scene is hands down one of the best scenes that encompasses what encapsulates, not encompasses. Yeah. Encapsulates Batman for me.
I will say I talked with somebody on Twitter yesterday. They said that the main issue that they had with Ben Affleck is that yes, he kills or not Batman, hurts people pretty bad and stuff. But the issue is that in that movie, like you straight up see their brains splatter against the wall and that type of stuff. Which I can understand that. It's pretty
but again,
pretty apparent.
But we're at a Batman who doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
Agreed.
Agreed.
And he's just getting over that. Like,
agreed. But that's something
not even 10 minutes before that is when he is starting to think like, holy shit, dude, what did I do?
Right. But that's something that's a pretty new introduction. That's
agreed. So I think I think the deep, like real deep mental aspect, the mentality, the psyche, the motivations, the driving force, right?
Right.
Like Batman tried to love, right? Batman tried to have a family and it didn't work, right? The Joker took it from him. And now, he takes pain pills. He drinks a lot, we never really see him bring a woman out, but we see him bringing women home just to be with them for a night, So like, he's not trying to, Bruce Wayne's not showing off any women. He's not bringing ballerinas to the restaurants and shit and showing them off.
Right.
He's bringing them home and using them for a night because like, dude, he's honestly broken. He's a broken person. And And then obviously, come Justice League, we see a different guy. And I think, as the story progressed, we were eventually going to see Batman sacrifice himself for the team. And it was going to be beautiful, man. It was going to be so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And for them to think that wasn't something that was worth doing to the fullest, they're out of their minds. Real quick though, an honorary mention is Robert Pattinson's Batman. Real quick, give me your thoughts, man.
Oh, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited again. A big thing for me, and this kind of happened. I know you're not a big gamer, but once the Arkham games came out,
I actually played Arkham.
Oh, I love all the Arkham games. That was like, for me, I was like, okay, they need to do a movie based off these games. He's agile. He's going up against a bunch of villains. It's kind of this, one night in Arkham story. And I think it feels like that's kind of what they're going to do with Pattinson's Batman. Obviously, you see that scene where he just beats the living crap out of that one thug. I'm pretty sure he breaks his face. Like the cracks and stuff that you hear in that it's awesome.
Brutal,
it's awesome.
Pretty brutal.
The other thing I'm super excited about, and Matt Reeves has talked a lot about this, is that we have really never seen Batman as quote unquote the world's greatest detective on screen.
And we're gonna get that.
That's what we're gonna get.
And that's what I'm really excited for. And again, Ben Affleck's my Batman, man. Don't get that twisted. And he needs to move on, right? He needs to become we need to get that solo Batman story. Whatever form that comes in, that I'm game. Make it a series, make it a movie, do whatever you want, as long as I get it. I would kind of rather it be a series because you could do more with it. But I think Matt Reeves, the Batman, is going to be awesome. I have no hate towards it. Not even a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Not even a little bit. I think it's kind of a good mix between Ben Affleck's Batman and Christian Bale's Batman, right? It's like that middle ground.
We're going to get to see both, two great stories.
Detective story.
And that was the thing also I loved about Arkham. Throughout the Arkham Knight series, you're actually using his detective mode, investigating certain things. He's got all of these different gadgets and stuff that you use, and we've never seen that in a Batman movie. So I really, really hope that they utilize. I would love to see detective mode in Robert Pattinson's Batman. Something where he can see the room and investigate it in a different way.
I think we are going to.
I'd flip.
There's the shot with the glowing eyes.
And
I really do think he's scanning the room. So listen, dude, this is the thing about fandom. And I talked about this the other night. This is the thing about fandom. Listen, just because you want Ben Affleck as Batman more doesn't mean that Robert Pattinson's going to be a bad Batman.
Right.
We need to be able to love everything, because say that the Snyderverse never gets restored, there's a good chance that that's going to happen. There's a chance that we never get to see Zack's full story come to pass. And we're going, are you going to boycott DC forever after that? That's an honest question. Because I don't think that's the right thing to do.
I think some of them are planning.
I think that's and guess what? To each their own. But I won't do that because dude, some things in Hollywood just happen like that, right? We can't always get our way.
Yeah.
We got the Snyder Cut. I'm very eternally grateful for that. But we need to. Eventually, we're going to have, and I think this is what Warner Brothers is banking on, is eventually we're going to have to move on.
We're going to have to move on. Yep.
Eventually.
Yep. I agree. And I think, it seems they're pretty determined to move on and not mention anything else. But at the same time, like you said, I'm super excited for Batman is one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. And there are so many different interpretations of him. From being the world's greatest detective to one of the world's greatest fighters to, there's so many different ways that he can be played. And I'm excited to have two of them going on at the same time. The possibility of the multiverse, maybe possibly seeing them connect. I mean, I think the future is bright in that sense.
For sure. Like an Earth 2 World's Finest would be kind of
right.
cool.
Right. And again, I would love to see I kind of hope
J.J.
that
Abrams Superman maybe meeting up with this Batman.
yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't.
But I think probably more, if anything, too. I think the Reeves Batman has an opportunity to. Okay, I get that, maybe you don't want to explore the world of Superman and all that, and Batman, but we've never really seen the Bat family since the few times in the '90s movies.
Right.
And I'd like to see a new Robin, a new Batgirl, a new Nightwing, all that type of stuff.
I think this Batman is too young for that.
Yeah, I think they said it was his second year, but I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of it he's got a Robin.
Yeah. So I think that would be that would have to be talked about after we see the film. Like, could it potentially go that way? Yada yada.
Right.
But guys, lots of engagement today. Thank you guys so much. That was really fun.
Yeah.
We've decided that more content like this is going to be fun and something that we're definitely going to be doing. If you guys do like this kind of stuff, let us know what you think we should do next, and we'll get that done. I know that we're gonna have our first roundtable like comics like thing this week on Friday. We don't have a name for it yet, but we're gonna read a comic book on Thursday night together. And then on Friday morning, we're going to grab a coffee and we're going to talk about said comic book. Hit me up on Twitter or throw it in the comments below what comic you would like to do. It would have to be a single issue for this time. We'll keep to a single issue this time and then work our way up to trades and story, bigger books going forward. But let us know in the comments which comic book you would like us to start with. That way you could read it with us. Become a Patreon to really, really get involved with this, because on Patreon, I think is where we're going to actually read the comic book with you. So it's only $5 a month. Been kind of slacking on the Patreon stuff, but it's because we only have 4 people that are in on it right now. So it's hard to do like these big group events when there's only 4 people. So please, guys, definitely like that helps us do more stuff like this and keep you guys engaged and happy. It's only $5 a month. The links are below, and we really have so much in the works for you guys, and the brand is moving forward the way it should be, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads by the Pop Culture Corner or its affiliates. Guys, it's been real, man. Austin, as always, good job. Good job.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I love Batman, man.
Well, me too. I'm a huge Batman fan.
I think we'll have to do another one of these of like the animated Batman stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I definitely included like that could be in the future. Like I think Batman Mask of the Phantasm is the single greatest Batman movie of all time.
So good.
For so many reasons.
And for me, Kevin Conroy is my Batman over all of them. Kevin Conroy is my Batman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kevin. I love you, Kevin.
Right.
If you're watching,
I think he's only half Batman, though.
I don't care, man. I'll take it. I will take it.
All right. Guys, let us know. Let us know what we should do. Shout out to all of our Patreons, as always. For now, it is our boys. Caden Reed, Nick DePalma, Odd, and that one, Carlos. A couple of you guys are here today. Thank you. We're definitely, the more Patreon members we get, guys, the more we can do with you. So if you even want to just support the channel, it's only $5 a month. It really helps us, keep all the things that we're doing, HD streams, which means HD watch parties, which mean everything in clear, crystal clear, 1080p. And it allows us to keep coming up with different production ideas and bettering our equipment and doing all that kind of stuff. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely get there. I always send pictures of my dog. I always try to get the podcast uploaded there. So think about that, guys. It definitely means a lot to me. We do it for you. We do it for the culture. Stay tuned tonight, Austin.
So yeah, tonight, little reschedule. Unfortunately, we were gonna have our friend the Yoinks, but he did have some family issues come up, and he unfortunately won't even be streaming today either. But I will be around. Me and Jack will be around for Ty's Corner as we discuss this week's topics and talk a little controversy.
All right. So I did not know that. Good thing you said
Yep.
that to now. I was gonna.
I
promote
know.
it.
I found
So-
out during the stream. I got the.
Oh, okay. All right, guys. Till next time. We love you.